The Fifine SC3 versus the G1 Neo by Maono. That is a nice competition. I know all you techies and gamers out there are interested in seeing, knowing which one would be the better bang for your buck, considering both of these right now on Amazon are coming in at around the same price with their current discounts. So with that said, which one is the better bang for your buck? One of these has more features than the other. One is better quality. We're gonna see which of the two is which. Let's get started. All right, so here we are with our devices side by side. The Maono G1 Neo, relatively new device by Maono. And then we have the very popular, easy to grab, easy to go to Fifine SC3. What really sets these two apart? Well, we're about to dig into that right now. So let's just start here. Well, as you can see, just as off first appearance, they're both well lit up with RGB. They both have a nice onset of RGB as well as RGB settings that you can filter and cycle through with the RGB customizations you got going on here. So we'll dig into that in a second. They are both matte to the appearance, as you can see, no reflective qualities, which means no real fingerprint issues going on, especially if you're going to have these on screen in your shots. Looking at the IOs of these devices and the front side of this, you're going to see a lot of similarities we got going on. First and foremost, we have, of course, our XLR, a secondary headset mic input here for both, which means you can use your headset with its built-in mic through here, but you can't do both at the same time. There's only one mic at a time, so these mic ports will cancel out the XLR connection here. On the Fifine itself, we actually have a dynamic and condenser microphone switch, so that way you can get the best audio out of each mic depending which type you have. The Maono G1 Neo is only, I guess, just the microphone you connect. It doesn't have an option, so whether it's condenser or XLR, they will work the same. The Maono G1 Neo has a power switch. The SC3 does not have a power switch. It just powers on when you plug it in. Neither one of these are in fact battery powered, so that's okay, I guess, if you have a power source to connect to. But the G1 Neo has power connectors specifically for power and a separate one for PC. The Fifine SC3 only has the one that's for power and for PC, no separate connection. So while you're connected with the SC3, you'll need to use one of the audio jacks here, one of the 3.5mm jacks for connecting to devices like a iPhone, for example. So that's just one thing to look at. But if you're connected to a PC, you will get power as well as data communication while you're connected to a PC or a laptop through that power port. Both have line outs, both have headphone ports, and both have line in or aux in as in the G1. So a lot of the same ports. The only real port that's missing from the Fifine SC3 that's included with the G1 Neo is that separate dedicated mobile device or computer port right there, which is USB-C. On the bottom, we have some rubber feet for both. Well, for the Fifine SC3, it's rubber. Here, it's more like a foamy kind of material, so I think this would be more slippery than the SC3. You kind of move it. Yes, it is. I feel the SC3 with a better grip. And on the bottom, you have a mount here for mounting the G1 Neo. You can connect that to a little 1/4 inch mount like you have for your camera and mount it on a stand. RGB, well, I like the RGB on both. I like the RGB features, but I particularly like that RGB ring that is on the G1 Neo that goes around the entirety of the device. Yes, very cool. Well, almost the entirety. It doesn't go around the back, but all of the front and side. So that's actually kind of nice visual aesthetic. All right, so let's just start off with some of the buttons and features we got going on here. So with the Maono G1 Neo, you have your mic volume right here on the left. Don't know how accurate this lighting scenario is, but it's kind of somewhat a nice visual indicator. For our Fifine, we also have a mic volume slider right here. Very questionable accuracy with these light monitors we have going on here. Then we have our mic mutes, right? We can mute both of these, considering we have mics connected. But what this device has that the Fifine does not have, which is an awesome addition. And also keep in mind, the pricing is Bluetooth. Yes, we have Bluetooth feature built into the G1 Neo. How awesome is that? And we just hold it for a few seconds to turn it on or turn it off. And we have a audio control for our aux in or our Bluetooth or whatever devices we got coming in to the back of the Neo. We have that here as a controller and a mute for that source. Okay, and for this we also have a line in control here, line in slider, as well as a mute for that line in as well. Now with regards to the mic volume here on the left, we also have gain control for the actual Neo. Yes, so you can control your gain and your volume levels here independently. That's right, so volume is good for keeping the nice bass volume, and gain controls, I guess, the amount of pickup, right? But it also seems like it's volume, but it also controls your noise floor. So you can control your noise floor to get it down to a decent level, and then just bump your volume up high so that way you don't compromise volume levels or output. I would say the Fifine has a little bit more resistance, but this one has almost just as much as that, so that's okay. I think I like the big button here on Fifine, and it has like little grooves there to grip your finger. The G1 Neo is a little bit smoother here, so your finger kind of can slide on the button as you're gliding it up and down, so could have been a little bit more tactile there for sliding your sliders. Headphone mic monitor here, individual slider for that. You can turn it on or off. For monitoring on this side, we have a headphones knob, which you can turn up and down for your monitoring through your headphones. Both have the capabilities to turn the mic monitoring on or off on the fly. So if your volume is up and you just want to quick toggle it off, you can do that and quick toggle it on, or slide it all the way down or turn the knob down. Along with direct monitoring on this button while we're here, we have the loop back feature, which the Fifine SC3 does not have. RGB, let's just look at RGB real quick. We have an RGB button here with the G1 Neo, and you can cycle through a number of RGBs types, right? This is like some kind of scrolling RGB, and it has your lights here flashing, and it kind of just cycles through colors, which will be the same color here. There's a gradation, as you can see. Pressing that again, we have just a slow gradation from color to color I'm seeing. You can press it and we can switch and cycle through colors: red, orange, pink, purple, blue, you name it, green. All right, so it looks like it's going through a cycle of pulsations of each color. Press it again, so it's going to pulsate through green, pulsate through red. Press it again, we can turn it off for all my RGB haters out there. So RGB is not a reason not to get this. If you don't want RGB, you can just turn it off. And turning it back on, we cycle back through our, I guess, RGB rotation transition colors. All right. And RGB on the Fifine SC3, well, we have a dedicated RGB button for that. That's right here in the top corner. And by clicking that, right now we are in a RGB kind of cycle going through it. And if we press it, and it's going through a slow gradation between all of the colors, green to red. They're pretty bright, so it kind of looks washed out on camera, but it looks nice in my eyeballs right here. Pressing it again, it looks like we are, what is it doing now? Okay, slow gradation and pulsation of RGB colors from one color to the next. Switching it again, looks like we have this cool dynamic cycle of color. Is kind of starting from the right and going through your left, red, and then it starts yellow, goes across, okay, green, Pretty cool. I like that little cycle there, something that the G1 Neo doesn't have. And then what else we got going on here? We have red. I guess this would be solid colors. So if you wanted to create a theme, you can do that. Solid yellow, orangish, solid light green, darker green, light blue, dark blue, looks like a pink. And then we're back to our RGB. So just a little bit less RGB features that you have with regards to pulsation, and do a little cycle ring that it has going to the bottom on the G1 Neo. A little bit more pulsation levels for each color on the G1 Neo. So just a little bit more dynamism on the G1 Neo. So I kind of like the G1 Neo RGB a little bit better than that on the Fifine SC3. That's kind of an aesthetic choice. Doesn't really make one worse or better than the other. Moving right along, side chaining, which is included in the G1 Neo and the Fifine SC3, does not have side chaining whatsoever. So side chaining is for music. When you have audio going, you can turn on sidechain to lower the audio as you speak, and then when you stay silent, the music kind of raises up, so it kind of just ducks the music as you talk and then brings it back up when you stop talking. Another thing not included in the Fifine SC3 is noise reduction. That's right, we have noise reduction on the G1 Neo. No noise reduction on the Fifine SC3 whatsoever. That could be a big game changer when it comes to these two devices, the noise reduction. There's a low noise reduction, there's a higher level of noise reduction, then you can turn noise reduction off. So 2 levels of noise reduction on this. And we have custom buttons. The Fifine SC3 has 4 custom buttons, as well as the G1 Neo. One other thing we have on the G1 Neo that's not present on the Fifine SC3 is reverb. You can actually incrementally control your reverb effect. We do have electronic, which is just basically your auto tune that you have going on here. Now, this G1 Neo does not have auto tune. That's right, no auto tune feature on the G1 Neo. A plus and a win here if you're gonna need auto tuning. So here we are with XLR on the Fifine SC3, and I am monitoring live. And what I will say is that the monitoring is a little strange on the SC3. There's no delay, but I feel like there's some sort of like double voice or echo somewhat. It kind of feels like a delay, but it's not really. It sounds great, and it also sounds great via XLR. So this is the audio quality. With XLR, I presume they probably will both be just fine in XLR. Honestly, running through the Maono PD400X. So, okay. So let's see what voice changes we have going on with the Fifine SC3.
The first voice changer is, wow, it doesn't announce it in the headset, but it sounds like it is the male. There's a label here on the device itself. You'll see that it says male, right? So that's the male voice changer. It sounds okay. What if I had a high-pitched voice? That doesn't make me sound like a male. I sound crazy. All right, moving right along, we have female. Looks like they didn't have enough space for the E. Female.
Testing 1, 2. Brings up the pitch a little higher. And I guess if you have a deep voice, it sounds strange. But if I have a higher pitched voice, it can tend to sound more like a female. What? Then moving right along, robot.
This was cool. It actually sounds like a robot. Okay. Moving right along. Monster is very deep. Okay. Super pitch drop is basically what that is.
Next up is baby. This is the baby voice, and it sounds pretty much the same as every other baby voice changer I've tried on most mixers. And then we have elder.
This is the elder, and I feel like I'm 89. Elder voice. Okay, so we have 6 voice changing effects, and cycling through them is
Relatively fast. So as soon as I press that button,
it's changing immediately. Look how fast.
That changes, no delay.
No cutting, slight cut off.
For like a millisecond.
You can hear the cut
Off. But
otherwise, it's fine. And then to change it back to the original voice, you hold it for a couple seconds and it changes
Back. Oh, wait, what? I can talk normal now. These are actually not so bad. The robot sounds like a actual robot. I've had mixers where the robot voice is just a deeper pitch. Electronic. This is auto-tune, and you have all of the levels of auto-tune that you need for your voice to customize the way you sing if you're a singer, or if you're a bad singer like me and you need auto-tune in your voice. This has tons and tons of auto-tune in your face. All right, so, and it just keeps cycling through, and the way you turn it off is you just hold it for a couple seconds and it cuts off the electric auto-tune, or the electric voice is what they call it. And then you have custom, right? We'll just use custom B to test that out. And to to record on your custom button, you just hold it for a couple seconds. And now you are recording as the light stays white, and it will record for up to 15 seconds of audio of any kind through your PC, through your microphone, through a phone, for example. So let's see when it cuts off. There we go. It cut off after 15 seconds, and if I press it, let's see the quality of this audio. And now you are recording as the light stays white, and it will record for up to 15 seconds of audio of any kind through your PC, through your microphone, through a phone, for example. So let's see when it's... Okay, so the quality of the recording, the custom buttons, is not that great. It sounds pretty muffled, but otherwise you do have 4 of them, so just take that with a grain of salt. I don't know how good quality you need your special sound effects to sound here. Here we are switched over to the G1 Neo voice changers, which is one of the things we wanted to get into. Let's see what we get for voice changers versus what we get on the SC3. All right, so first up, we have
the female voice, which sounds kind of cute. All right. Very similar to the way the female voice sounds on the SC3. They're pretty much the same on most mixers. Moving right along, let's go over to male
voice. This is probably just going to make the pitch a bit deeper, which is typical of all mixers. Again, moving right along, that's 2, female, male.
and we have the baby. Now the cool thing is that it announces it in your ear.
Robot. Alright, so robot just makes it ever so slightly deeper. It sounds like the elder version on the SC3, but with a little bit of reverb. Does the reverb work with the voice changers? It does not, so they become idle. Okay, and then moving right along, next one is
default. So you get 4 versus 6 on the SC3 with the G1 Neo. Okay, couple less. I think the SC3 has the elder as well as like this monster voice. All right, but what this does have that the SC3 does not have is reverb. So just moving this a little bit, you see there's a little bit of a dead zone there. So we won't get the reverb to kick in up until about a quarter of the way. There you go. So big dead zone at the beginning. But once you get past that dead zone, you can get a very small reverb, and then you can go all the way up. Whoa, that is a big reverb. I haven't heard a gigantic reverb like that with any of these mixers that I've kind of went through. So this has immense reverb on it if you need all that immensity of reverb. So what else do we have here? We have noise reducer. We have a couple of levels of noise reducer. So let's go ahead and click that once. You hear the noise. It tells you in monitoring, noise cancellation low. So this is a low level of noise cancellation. And as you can hear, it has killed out that big HVAC sound in the background. Kind of cool. You can hear bits and pieces of it creeping through as I talk. When I stay silent, it's completely gone. Okay. Now, pressing it again. Noise cancellation high. It announced it in my ear, and it is pretty brutal as well. If I sit back a little bit, it's going to kind of chop me out. See how I get lost in the audio sources? Yeah, so when I sit back, you have to really sit close for that heavy noise cancellation to be working in your favor. And then we'll turn it off and noise cancellation off, and you can hear all the beautiful wind tunnels in my room. Okay, so playing music through Penn Station, the income. You hear that music? Now there's no side chaining, so it's gonna stay as is, right? But as soon as I press that side chain button and I start talking, the music is gonna duck down a little bit. And when I stop, the music comes right back up. Cool sidechain feature. And it works very well for just having one level. It comes in at a good interval. Nice. And it cuts off just on time. It's pretty fast on the attack to drop out when I start talking. And last but not least, what we want to do is check out our custom button here and see if it does any better than the Fifine SC3, which the audio is kind of degraded on that. So let's go ahead and hold this button. And what that does when it flashes fast like that is delete whatever content I had on that button. I think I did have something. So once it stops flashing, or whatever audio you had on there is deleted, then you just tap it once and it starts recording, and it will record for up to 15 seconds of dynamite audio, hopefully potentially better than the SC3. And it seems like it goes for a long time, so you can record parts of a song if you need like a small part of a song to play. All right, and I think it's going to stop now. And well, let's just hear that quality of the button, of the custom buttons. Here we go. And it starts recording, and it will record for up to 15 seconds of dynamite audio, hopefully potentially better than the SC3. And it seems like it goes for a long time, so you can. Do you hear the quality of that recording with the custom buttons? Much better than on the Fifine SC3. So you're going to get better sounds, better quality sounds, better quality voice recording if you're going to use your voice for something. Wow, okay, that is pretty good. I'm impressed by the quality of these buttons. And there you have it, Tech and Gaming fam. The Fifine SC3 versus the Maono G1 Neo in your flying face. I think the winner is the Maono G1 Neo. Why? Why is this the winner? I don't know. Who am I? Starting from a very aesthetic view, I guess this is kind of a personal preference, even for all you guys out there. You can choose whichever one you like based off of appearances. But I like that. I like the RGB on this. I like that RGB ring that goes around it. I like the big buttons on here. Right, the fact that those buttons are kind of huge, and some of those buttons to kind of save space, they've doubled up buttons, like with direct monitor and loopback being in the same button, for example. So that's kind of cool. You have things like reverb, which the Fifine SC3 doesn't have. The custom button recording audio quality is better. I'm just outlining the reasons why I think it's better. Way better than the way the audio sounds on the SC3. I like that there is a port there specifically for charging your device, and a separate one for connecting to a computer, so you can fully keep this device powered, have it going through your computer instead of having your laptop running off the battery of your laptop to power up this device. Doesn't charge, there's no battery in it. So a little bit more flexibility there with having a dedicated port for your mobile devices like your phone or your laptop. Bluetooth. Yes, let's just keep going through the things that make it better. The Bluetooth feature, which the Fifine SC3 does not have, is nice. It's an additional audio source line in coming in from whatever device you want to Bluetooth into the G1 Neo, into your stream, into your recording. And there's a separate aux line in for additional line ins on the back. So you have that aux in, which is another line in. So you can have two different sources of audio coming in, one from one device and one from a Bluetooth device. Awesome sausages. And then we also have noise reduction. We have noise reduction on this bad boy on the front. 2 levels, low and high noise reduction, and it works pretty good. We have gain and volume for controlling our microphone. What advantage does the SC3 have over the G1 Neo? Well, for one, the voice changers are more. That's right, there are more, and they are better quality. And when you're changing from voice to voice, there's no like lag. There's like a very split second of a delay. You could barely notice it and a dip out, but not as bad as that on the G1 Neo. So the voice changers gets a win here. You also get a win with the auto tune. That's right, you got the electric button there for your auto tune pleasure, and there are quite a lot of it. The ports on the back are not advantages. Maybe that you have a condenser and dynamic switch there for it, but I don't think that's really an advantage, since it will work with the G1 Neo no matter which device you connect to it. So it could be seen as a disadvantage if you forget to make the switch from dynamic to condenser. So there's a lot of cons you can say with the SC3 that the G1 Neo fulfills. Those are my reasons why I think the G1 Neo takes a nice steal from the SC3. A big enough margin for me to choose the G1 over the SC3. For me, all day, G1 Neo. All right. If you want to counter my arguments, there's a comment section below and you let me know, right? I want to see if you have enough argument for the SC3 to trump the G1 Neo. I want to see what's the reasons for why you choose this over the G1 Neo. So yeah, let's see if y'all guys are good out there to convince me that the SC3 is better. I doubt it. You can't do it. I know you can't, but you can try. Go ahead, leave those in the comments. All right, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.